How are you today, Minor? How are things going?
¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo anda todo?
Muy bien, mucho trabajo, pero muy bien, gracias a Dios.
A lot of work, but thank God everything's good. Ahorita, ¿qué están haciendo en las fincas?
En este momento estamos controlando malezas, se está también regulando sombra. En tema de finca, en este momento, ahorita hace poco se fertilizó las plantas.
So I asked him what he's doing in the farms right now. So he said in the farm right now what they're mostly doing is preventing disease. So using certain products, some of the stuff that they make on their own on the farm to prevent stuff like atragnosis or derrite or ojo de gallo, things like that. They're also playing with the shade a little bit. So he's kind of cutting away certain shade and letting certain shade grow. And they also recently did a fertilize, which is very expensive nowadays. And some farmers are choosing not to do it as much as they used to. But Minor, I think, is one of the farmers that's continuing to take care of his field. So not a lot going on in the processing area, but always something to do in the plantations.
Well, great. That's exciting. Well, I wanted to ask you, Minor, what's your first memory of coffee, or what do you first remember about either drinking it or growing it or tasting it, your first encounter with it?
Sí, ahí voy entendiendo un poquito, pero mejor.
Okay.
Entiendo que cuáles han sido mis mejores recuerdos, digamos.
Minor said his first memories is actually planting coffee with his dad and his brother. So he's actually a fourth generation farmer. So he's been, the family has been involved in farming for quite a while. ¿Y como cuántos años tenía la primera siembra?
Que me acuerde, yo creo que yo tenía como 6 años.
Like 6 years old, he remembers going into the field and planting new trees.
Wow. Wow. So you've been around coffee your entire life, huh?
Yes. Sí, toda la vida.
And when did you start drinking coffee for the first time? Or do you drink it?
Y descubrí un universo, y no paro de descubrir aún. Y esa vez se me ocurrió probar un café de la finca y fue como un choque de aromas, de sabores, todo, donde dije, aquí hay que hacer algo con este café. Y fue donde empecé.
So to translate, Minor, coffee was always around. He always used to drink it even as a kid. But of course, it was like bad coffee that, they would pick up at the local grocery store. And it's funny, right? Because you have producers that are growing potentially amazing coffee, but they go to the nearby grocery store and buy, whatever is available. And then I asked him to go a little bit further, and when did like a specialty sort of coffee kind of come to his mind? So he said about 8 years ago when they started their project, which is called La Cumbre. For some reason, he thought, I want to try this coffee, like I want to make it the whole way and see really what our coffee tastes like, because they never really tasted their own coffee. They sold the fruit, and that was that. Then they go pick up the coffee in the grocery store. So about 8 years ago is when he did the whole process himself, and he said the aromas and the flavors and the excitement, that's what like really got him into the project to start processing his own coffee and start going more towards the specialty coffee realm.
That's great. So was it when if you go ahead.
Ese fue el día que yo probé
That's
el café.
the day. That's the day that he tried. ¿Y quién es? Esa es su abuela.
Es mi mamá. Sí.
His mom is there.
Ella me tostó el café en un comal, en una olla.
His mom roasted the coffee in a pan.
Y lo molimos en esa máquina de moler maíz.
They ground it in that grinder that's for corn. That's why they ground it the first time.
Y el café es un aroma increíble en ese momento.
He said the smell was crazy.
Lo recuerdo como ayer, hace 9 años ya de esto.
Were you expecting the coffee to taste good, or were you expecting it to taste bad when you first started getting it ready to taste your own coffee?
Pero no esperaba que tuviera tantos aromas diferentes, tan dulce, no esperaba que fuera dulce.
He had a feeling it was going to be good, but he didn't know it was going to be so aromatic, so sweet, as good as it turned out to be.
Well, we certainly agree with you. We think that it's a beautiful coffee.
Gracias.
And as you started pursuing higher quality in the coffee you were growing, what was some of the growing practices or the ways that you changed what you did on your farm in order to achieve some of that higher quality, or continuing to pursue higher quality?
En ese momento nació la idea de un nuevo negocio, que era comercializar ese tipo de café, porque anteriormente lo entregábamos en cooperativas o multinacionales.
So he's saying more than anything, like, it became a new business because they used to obviously grow the coffee, collect the fruit, and sell the fruit. But now he came with a totally new business idea, which I think started more as a roastery. And so he says, really, after that moment, the new business idea and then education. So he took classes in barista. He started to learn about roasting, and that's like what really caught his attention, was the roasting side of the business. And then, yeah, I mean, in terms of managing the plantations by themselves, I think they pretty much maintain the same ideas of trying to produce, in harmony with the environment, and obviously try and, shoot for quality in their fruit. So I think plantation-wise, probably a lot stayed the same, but more of like the kind of business model and education, knowing what else is out there, I think was really the big change. Minor, en las plantaciones no cambió mucho, ¿verdad? Es como igual,
Sí.
manejarlo sostenible y calidad.
En las plantaciones, lo que digamos, al yo ser agrónomo, lo que hice fue conectar la calidad de la planta para que así la calidad que yo voy a vender pueda ser cada vez mejor. Entonces,
so Minor is saying that first of all, he's an agronomist, so that helps. He knows what's going on in the plantation. But maybe some changes that were made in the plantation when the new business idea came is the nutrition of the plants. So every year making sure the nutrition is better and better, again, focusing on quality, and more of a preventative management than like a combative management. So he knows what diseases affect him. So instead of seeing it happening and trying to fix it, he'll try and prevent it, which I think helps a great deal.
And did he pursue becoming an economist or an agronomist before he started transitioning over to increasing quality, or was that something that happened as a result of trying to increase quality?
Yo tenía como 3 años de haberme graduado de agrónomo.
Yeah, he already graduated like 3 years before the new business.
Solo que yo venía entrando a trabajar a la finca. Yo primero trabajé en una empresa, en Tarrazu, por cierto, trabajé en una empresa como agrónomo, y 3 años después salí a trabajar directamente con la finca.
Okay. So yeah, so Minor graduated in agronomy, and then he went to work with the local cooperative, which I think you know, Tarrazu. And so
Yeah,
he was helping their producers a little bit as an agronomist there, as their in-house agronomist. Uh, he did that for a little bit, and then he kind of worked with his family and their farms, and that's when things started to get better in their plantations.
that's great. And he started partnering with Selva 5 years ago, correct?
Yeah, I want to say ya hace 5 años estamos trabajando juntos, ¿verdad? Sí, hace
Ujú.
5, creo,
Sí,
por ahí.
más o menos
Yeah,
4 o 5.
yeah.
And how has he seen the business change as a result of that partnership?
Bueno, cuando nosotros iniciamos, nuestro principal negocio era tostar y vender café.
So, Minor is saying, when he started, it was really just for roasting, and like we came along and saw the potential for him to export, do a little bit more volume. And so I guess we were the first ones to buy his green coffee and export it unroasted. And every year after that, we've been growing, doing more coffee, bigger lots. He's very happy that there's transparency there. He knows who's the roasters buying the coffees, and that it's been a good relationship so far. And he's on a very good trajectory to do more green coffee. So I think everybody's a win-win. And from my personal side, I think it's a pretty cool story because Minor and Selva really did kind of start at the same time. We kind of started together, on our trajectory of growth. And so it's been, on our part at least, an awesome relationship, and I think Minor as well.
Great. Great. And that actually leads to another question of where are you hoping to see your business grow to?
Nuestra meta es como consolidar cada vez más clientes. Nosotros actualmente estamos trabajando cerca del 15% de nuestra producción.
Yeah, so basically, I think a dream that Minor has is to continue, finding really good partnerships that are sustainable and strong, that can grow together with La Cumbre. At the moment, he's only processing like 15% of his fruit production, and he thinks that they could reach, like 50 to 80% of that coffee can be processed at their new mill. So definitely like processing more of the fruit rather than selling the fruit that they grow. And I think a big dream of his is to continue developing his community. So they're over there in San Lorenzo de Tarrazu, and his dream is to continue, solid jobs to the people in the community. He mentioned a lot about empowering women and giving them jobs as well. And so that's kind of his overall goal, is to like make a nice little business for the community there in his town.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Gracias. That's all I know. What do you have any questions for us? Anything that you would like to hear about from our side, or any information that we can help pull together that would be beneficial for you?
Sí,
Para la empresa.
quisiera saber si ya el café llegó, si ya lo pudieron probar, qué les pareció el café.
He's asking if the coffee's arrived yet, which I don't think it's made it to the roastery quite yet, has it?
It has not made it to our roastery, but we're planning on releasing it in. Let me pull up a calendar real quick. I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get it issued to us.
Me interesa mucho conocer la opinión, cómo ven el café, porque dígale a él que para mí una cosa es producirlo y poderlo procesar bien y venderlo.
No, Minor is very excited to see how you guys like the coffee, of course. he just mentioned that, of course, you know, he's slowly becoming an expert in growing and processing and selling his coffee. But he says that's only half the way, there. So the other half is making sure that you guys are happy, you guys can sell the coffee well, that you use it all, and that you're asking for more next year. And I think that's something that Selva shares as well. You know, we try and stay on top of our partners and see how the coffee turned out, and you know, convey that feedback to the farmer, because it's an annual harvest, and it doesn't do us any good just to sell a coffee one time and the client's not happy, and then what? You know, so we're definitely want to make sure that it's a healthy cycle.
Sí. Otra
¿Algo más?
pregunta, Perry.
Ajá.
Más o menos, ¿qué tipos de café o qué tipos de procesos son los que más consumen ellos? Y también, normalmente, ¿de qué tamaño son los lotes que les gusta trabajar?
So Minor is asking, like, what type or what style of coffees do you guys typically tend to like? Maybe like what processes you guys really like, and then like what lot sizes are like comfortable for you guys to work with.
Yeah, so we have we like all processes. We have some washed, we have some honey processed, we have some natural. We typically always have a few washed coffees because they have a very wide appeal. But we personally on our team really enjoy honey processed and naturals because of how special a lot of times they can be, both the aromatics, but then also just the taste profile can be so unique.
Okay.
And as far as lot sizes, we have for the coffee that we're using Miners, for the slot we're using Miners coffee for, we're in the process of growing those programs. So in the past, when I first began working, we would look at somewhere between 10 and 20 bags for a year. We've gotten to the place where we're now getting that up to 20 to 30 bags for a year. But one of our main goals for the next probably 2 or 3 years here is to continue to increase that, because we use it both for as a single origin just on its own, but then we also use it for several of our blends. And that way we're able to ideally keep increasing the amount of that coffee that we buy. So it's exciting to hear that he's looking to grow the amount of coffee he's able to process, because that tells me that as we grow, there's the possibility of continuing to get this lot from him. So.
Ok, súper bien. Otra pregunta, Perry, ¿qué es lo que ellos buscan en un productor principalmente? O sea, ¿qué es lo que a ellos les gusta que un productor ofrezca, no solo como producto, sino, no sé, otras cosas, a veces servicio, otros detalles?
Minor wants to know, what do you look for in an ideal producer partnership? You know, not obviously you want a good coffee, you know, like all the obvious, like good shelf life, good quality, all this stuff. But as a producer, what's interesting to you guys?
Great question. We are still growing and learning what we value in a producer, because just in the past probably 6 months have we been able to start connecting directly with farmers and producers on the ground. Our dream is to have a relationship with our producers where we can hear what they're doing on the farm and we can share anything that we're doing. And specifically as it pertains to continuing to push forward with sustainability. I was just talking with the owners today that the biggest part of sustainable environmental practices that we don't have control over is what happens at the farm level, because we're not farmers, we're roasters. So we're trying to roast and package and sell the coffee with as much with an eye towards environmental sustainability, but having farming partners who are able to say, no, we're trying to take steps forward to make our processes more and more sustainable, to us is really exciting. And those are my dream would be that every producer that we partner with has a sustainability plan for how they're going to continue to make their processes and make more sustainable, lessen their waste. Because if it's not sustainable at the farm, then ultimately it's not sustainable for us. Because I know, and I don't think this is happening at your farm based on what you've told me. I know there are some farms that are using practices where they're no longer going to be able to grow coffee at some point because they're ruining the land or they're disabling themselves from being able to grow in the future.
Muy bonito. Estoy totalmente de acuerdo con respecto a la sostenibilidad y totalmente de acuerdo con la transparencia.
Tim, Minor is just saying, yeah, of course, he agrees with you. I think he shares the same sentiment. And we're going to put you guys in contact with each other via WhatsApp. And he's sort of promising, I think, to be sending you little updates here and there, little videos and photos of what's going on in the farm.
That would be wonderful. Well, wonderful. And is there anything from that Minor would like coffee drinkers in America to know, especially as they're drinking his coffee?
Ok, yo lo que siempre digo es que yo les estoy dando lo mejor que produce mi finca.
Excelente. So Minor's message to the people drinking his coffee is that he is using the best fruit that his farm has to offer. So he's always going to choose the best coffees to process. Like we said, his family has numerous different lots there in the Tarrazu region. And so he's always like looking for the best fruits of that season and choosing it to share with all of you. Another thing is that he wants y'all to know is that he has control over the whole process. So everything from, growing the coffee, harvesting it, processing it, drying it, and very soon he's going to have a little dry mill in-house as well. So he's got 100% control of almost the whole chain there at origin. So those two things, that he's choosing the best fruit to share and that it's all done in-house. And actually, it's very impressive what he's built. I call it a Torre de Café, what he built there in San Lorenzo. It's a beautiful, brand new wet mill. He used to take up until last year. So you guys got the first coffee that he actually processed in this new wet mill. Up until last year, he would take it to a neighbor. He would take the fruit to a neighbor. The neighbor would pulp it, and he would take that parchment to his house and put it on drying beds next to his house and do a sun dry. Last year was the first year that he actually processed in his own wet mill finally. And so he built it with a vision. He has a lot more capacity. And so that makes our job cut out for us. Sell more coffee from La Cumbre.
Well, wonderful. This is very exciting. We've had coffee from the Tarrazu region for many years, for 5, 6, 7 years. And it's one of our most sold coffees. So my hope is that by transitioning to a farmer-specific lot, having so much more information about how it's made and how it's processed, and being able to, we really think this is a plus up of the lot. It's superior to what we've been getting the last few years. So we're really excited to share this with our customers and to see how it grows. And hopefully our conversation as you step into harvest next year will be how much more we need of it rather than anything else.
Ok, no, pues muchas gracias. Me interesa mucho mantener la relación. Me interesa mucho mantener la calidad.
Yeah, no, Minor's just saying, thanks again. He's really interested in strengthening this relationship and hopefully it goes for many years. He said that I can vouch for him, which I totally can. He's a very serious guy. He's very detail oriented. And so definitely know that he put everything into this coffee. But he's kind of worried in a way. Like I think he's so passionate. He said he feels like he sent a son over to you, that he's kind of like hoping it behaves once it arrives there, right? So he just said he doesn't want his coffee to be a problem for you. Better yet, he wants it to be a huge success, and that you guys can do very well with it. And so he can't wait to hear how it treats you. And thanks again.
Well, wonderful. Well, you can tell him we're so happy to be getting the coffee, and as soon as we drop a production roast, we'll mail some coffee to him, or we'll mail it to you, and you can get it
That'll
to
be
him.
awesome. Perfect. Dicen que gracias, y ya casi cuando tienen el café en el tostador nos van a enviar un paquete.
Ah, qué bueno, muy bueno, muy bueno. Acá quería mostrar un poco dónde estamos. Tarrazu, estamos bien alto.
En Tarrazu.
Nuestra finca, yo vivo dentro de la finca.
This
is his house, the view from his backyard.
This is my house.
It's beautiful.
Coffee.
Es mi house, todo es café.
Oh, y Minor, la tostadora.
Ah, sí, aquí está.
Esto es
todo es café. All coffee. Okay, go to that roast.
I want you to see his roaster, because
he's
had a really big success with his roaster. So let's see what he's got going on there, and it's right next to his house.
This is the office.
There you go.
Office. Digan adiós. Digan adiós. These are roast.
Hey.
Ahí está. ¿Qué tipo de tostador es, Minor?
No topper. No topper.
Topper. Eso es portugués.
Eso es turco, Turquía. De Turquía.
Turkish. It's a Turkish roaster.
Is the warehouse?
Le queda mucho café. ¿Qué pasó, Minor?
No, esto no me alcanza, Perry.
¿En serio?
En serio.
He's gonna go
That's
through all the
wonderful.
coffee. I said, "What? You have so much coffee left? You didn't tell me." But he needs that for the roastery.
Yeah.
This is the export.
So how wide of a region does he sell roasted coffee to?
Todo Costa Rica. Todo Costa Rica. All country of Costa Rica. Yes. Sí, es pequeño, eso es pequeño, es una área pequeña, ese es nuestro paquete de café.
That's his little bag.
There you go.
So he says it's a small project, but enséñanos el camión. El camión está ahí.
El camión está trabajando.
Está trabajando. He has like a truck. He has like a truck that he does the deliveries with. That's really funny. I wanted you to see, but he says it's all working, so that's good.
Good news.
Es la denominación de origen.
He has a denomination of origin, so he can put there the stamp that is from Tarrazu. Está bonito. Y más de todo es mieles.
Sí, red honeys.
Red honeys he does mostly.
Yeah. This is the
That's where I fell in love with his coffee, right there in that cupping room. I fell in love.
Esta es la empacadora.
So they're packing.
Y tengo un centroamericano. The little.
¿Qué está tostando?
Yes. It's a little.
Oh, little trees.
Centroamericano.
¿Es esa?
Centroamericano.
Those are a hybrid called Centroamericano, or some people call it F1. That's a mix between a Ethiopian landrace and Timor. So it's like a resistant variety, but it cups really good, and produces very well also.
Es muy, muy
Well-
rico, muy rico. Tienes una cuchara, Marta, así que acá tengo the similar coffee, o sea, el café es similar, ese de la cumbre,
Uh-huh.
al que nosotros vendemos acá. Vamos a ver. It is a dark roast.
Para ver.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's his dark roast there.
Yes. A medium roast.
Oh man, he's giving us a workshop on roasting now.
Yeah, he's giving us the full tour. I'll have to send him pictures of our space when I get in tomorrow.
So that's
Medium roast.
medium.
Yeah.
Oh.
Se ve bonito, parejo.
Yes, this is high quality. It's specialty coffee.
Oh, qué bueno.
Well,
Gracias.
that is very exciting. Thank you for the tour.
No, muchas gracias por el tiempo. Ojalá algún día venga a Costa Rica.
See,
Ojalá.
hopefully you can come sometime. You'll see,
Yeah.
you can smell the smells and feel the feels and taste the taste.
Oh, yeah. No, he's making me jealous already. So,
Bueno, Minor, creo que ya nos vamos, ¿verdad?
Ujú. Muchas gracias,
Ya
más
cerramos.
bien.
Thank you,
All
Tim.
right.
I'll let
Luego
you
me
Thank
guys
you.
pasa
Thank you.
el
Yeah.
número de teléfono. Yes.